Okay, Jene.
All right, my name's Jean, and I'm going to teach you guys all about nail molds. These are our fun little nail molds that I will show you guys and how to work it. All right, let me put you up here. Can everyone see that pretty good?
Yes.
Okay. Light on. All right, so nail molds are like this. They come in all different types of sizes, all different types of designs. And the reason I chose nail molds is because they're smaller. They have all different sizes in here. As you can see, here is a very tiny French twist, which is great for 1/4 inch scale. There's some that go all the way down to micro scale. And I chose the clear nail molds over, let's say, the pink ones or any other color ones, like Bruce Stewart does blue, because you can't use UV resin in these. You have to have a clear mold for UV resin to work in. And then just to show you some things that you can use for the nail molds, I have, let's see, I have plates that I've done with just nail polish, and then you can see the back. There are faces, if you wanted to do faces. And there are, you can see this is a little 1/4 inch scale candy cane. Bunnies, the jars. Now this one's made actually from nail polish. And this one is made from UV resin. I was just playing and learning. These are actually made from Ruth Stewart's mold with regular resin that you let air dry. These are air dry clay, your pumpkins, bunny rabbits, bread. And then I don't know if you guys can see these little guys, but they're turtles.
Cool.
And I use nail polish for those. You can use in these nail molds, you can use UV resin. It doesn't matter what type of UV resin. I just happen to buy this bottle. You can use regular clay, any type of clay that you can bake with. This is paper clay. You can make it or you can buy it prepackaged. And then this clay is what you get from Japan. It's very popular there. It's for their kids. It's puffy clay. And sometimes, I think Ruth Stewart sometimes will sell the puffy clay as well. But you can use that. You can also use any of the clay that you can make yourself, the porcelain clay. If you want, you can also use, of course, gel polish, of which I have quite a bit. Be careful with the gel polish. Sometimes they explode. As you can see, they've exploded on me. I guess they got too hot. Now, if you're going to use the UV resin or a gel polish, you must have either a UV resin, LED UV resin for your nails. You can have something big like this, or you can have something small like this. And this was, I think, $3 to $5. This is very cheap. This particular one is a professional grade for your nails. And when I bought it, it was about $36. I'm not sure how much they are now, but they're real easy to use. And I will show you how to do that. Plug it in. Can you see that pretty good, ladies? Oh,
Yeah.
you can't answer me. So, little nail polish resin.
Is it regular nail polish or nail polish resin is something special?
This is the gel nail polish. You know, when people get their gel nails done like this is what it is. It's gel. It has to, it cannot be regular nail polish. It has to be a gel polish. You can see my brand just happens to be Yukio. I have no clue how to pronounce it, but it is a gel polish. I get this off of Amazon or eBay. It's the cheapest one I can find. You pop it in and you turn it on. As you can see, the light's on. And you just let that cook. I always let it cook for about 90 seconds, and then I see, and sometimes it takes a few minutes because they're pretty high, or you can use a UV resin. It's easier if you have a cup or something, but you just pour out a little dot. You have to work quick with UV resins if you're like me and you have UV lights and LEDs. But you put it in. I use my little SID tool. That one's already dried. And you just put it in, and you can take the flat end and just make it flat. If you don't have a SID tool or you're not real comfortable with it, these things, you can get them at the dollar store that you use for your crickets. This works just fine too, because the UV won't stick to this. It's hard plastic. And you pop that in. Let's see, I'm going to pop this one out, and I'm just going to test it, and that's rock hard. Pop it out. Oops, I get my tweezers.
Okay.
And you see, you have a very small little waffle. Now, if you wanted to just make a waffle cup, like for the ice cream cones, how I have this completely filled, you don't have to have that filled. You can just put a little in. And just cover the bottom of it. And bring it all the way up to the very edge. Now this is a UV resin. Let me put this on something. And do you see that little French bread for 1/4 inch?
Yep.
Now you're like, but this is clear, Jene.
One second, but this is nail art or
This was the UV resin.
right, but
You
the
can
form,
take,
the molds, what are they from?
they're nail arts. You can get them on eBay. You can get them on Etsy. If you just Google nail arts, they pop everywhere. You can, they can cost anywhere between 50 cents to this one here. I pay $25 for it.
Oh my God, wow.
And they have all the different ones. And then I found a lady who sold knockoff copies for $6. So I bought all those. So you can spend a lot of money on these. Now to color UV resin, you don't really want to use more liquid. You can use it like a food dye, the gel, that works well. You can use micro powder. This will color it, but it'll also give it a glitter look to it because it's all shiny. And this, again, you can buy these on eBay, Etsy. You can buy them anywhere. Shop around. Don't buy the first ones you see because this one, I believe I got 56 colors and I paid $20 for it, where a lot of the prices are really high. You can also use
What's
the alcohol.
the name of
ink.
that? That you're going too kind of fast. Oh,
You want
mica.
the mica powder. You don't care. Don't worry about the brand name. It doesn't matter. You want the mica powder. You can use chalk. You can take regular chalk, scrape it off, mix it together. You can use paint. I don't use it because I never have it cure right. Like this, I painted after I made it. It's a little casserole dish.
You made
And
that
I
from
just-
nail art?
Yes. Yes. This is a little bit bigger than the nail arts. It's a little bit bigger, but yes, you can get all different sizes,
So
but
what do
it
you
pops
put in?
up.
Nail art molds?
Nail art molds. Yes. You can color this with paint. You can color this with chalk. You can do anything you want with it. Now, if you get molds that are colored, it doesn't matter. They come in blue, they come in green, pink, yellow. I've seen purple. You cannot use a UV resin. You cannot use a gel. And the reason you can't use those is the light will not go through. It has to be able to go through to do this. So for something like this, you want to use your clay. This is just some air dried clay.
What
Mine's
was
a
the
little.
name of that UV thing? The little ones that you showed. What was the
This?
brand name?
I
Oh,
don't even know if they make this brand name. They're about $3. Just put in UV lights and it'll pop up for you.
oh, okay.
Temu has them, Etsy has them, eBay, Amazon. They're between $3 and $5.
So
So
for
here's,
the other kind of one that she was talking about, you can also look up dollhouse molds.
Yeah, but
You'll
those are
pay
not
more.
as small for quarter scale. And they're not necessarily quarter scale.
no,
Most 1 inch.
Yeah, but not everybody here is necessarily doing 1/4 inch scale.
Right, so for the
Exactly.
1 inch, there is, it exists for the 1 inch, correct?
if you put in dollhouse molds, you're gonna
Yeah.
pay $3 to $5 more
Right.
because it's a special thing. So when you're using a regular mold, and you can use it too with just a regular nail art mold if you want to use clay. Let me get a old nasty brush here. I use cornstarch. You can use cornstarch. You can use baking powder. You need some sort of a release. I just dump it in there, get it in, and just pop some in there. Guess I had paint on that one. And then you roll it in. Now I press down firmly. I use my little scraper. These little scrapers for the crickets, I got mine at the dollar store. They work awesome to do this. Now, since this is air dried clay, you can let it air dry until it's completely folded, completely dry, or you can just go ahead and pop it out if you want. And there's your donut. Now, the easy way to pop out these, if you don't want to wait for them to dry, you take another piece of air dried clay, you make a teardrop. You hold on to the fat part and you press it in. And in theory, it's supposed to come out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have never had any luck with it. My friend pops them out like nobody's business. A little one. I want to clean my hands off.
Now, for the doll heads, were those a two-part mold?
No, I'll show you more.
Okay.
For the regular clay that you must oven bake, I'm not going to do it because I have allergies to the clay and I don't feel like putting on gloves and all that fun stuff. You cannot cook your clay in these molds. Some of them are for cookies and stuff that you can, and that's fine. But like my nail molds are not. If you do cook them, you will ruin your mold. So you don't want to do that. Some people will tell you, take like this little mold, and I did this one. I put some clay in there and pop it into the freezer for about 5 minutes, and it'll harden up and it'll pop out. It does, but look what it does to your mold. It destroys it. So you don't want to put these in the freezer either. If you have clay and you put the clay in and you have to cook it, the best way I found is a toothpick or something sharp, and you dig in and you just pop it right out. That's the best thing that I found. I also took an ice cube and put it over top of the clay just to make that part hard so I can pop that out. Or a lot of people take their little clay piece and could do that and pop it out. I can't do that. I'm not able to. Now, if you want, you can use, I have a bunch of brushes, and these are only for my nail art, where some of my molds have designs in them. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, ice cream cones. Yeah.
Yes. They have designs in it and squirrels and little swirls. I take my nail art paints and I'll take some gel and I can paint in there and do that. I'm not real good at it, but you can do that. And I got these on Amazon, this whole entire packet, and I think it was $7. It wasn't very expensive at all. But when you do buy this stuff, make sure you always keep your brushes separate from your other brushes. These are only for my nails.
You can get them for £1 in some of the pound shops in England.
Yep. Now, if you wanted to make your own molds, let's say you have, let's say you like this design. You want a big old snake on something, and you wanted to make your own molds, and you wanted to use UV resin. You can't use these mold makings, because they're not clear. Same thing with this. You can't use this because it's not clear.
We couldn't see what you just showed. You took it away too fast.
It's amazing putty.
Oh, okay.
You have two options to you. You can go the very cheap route, and this is plastic clay, and I can't pronounce it, but it's OYUMARU. And as you can see, it comes in different colors, and you're going to want to use the clear ones. And what you want to do with this, it does come with instructions. As you can see, this is just, it feels like a silicone mold. You can cut off your piece that you want. You heat it up in water. You drop it in. Here are the instructions. You heat it up in water. You drop it in. And you make your mold. With this. Like this one has glitter in it if you want something with glitter in it. And what's really nice about these things, once you make your mold, let's say you've made enough and you're tired of that mold, you can take the mold that you made from this and reuse it.
Oh, wow.
Reheat it and reuse it. This, I think I paid 50 cents for this. But that was
Wow.
a couple years. That was pre-COVID. So it's probably a couple dollars now. I got this on Amazon. I got like 5
And
packets.
what's it called? Plastic what?
It's called this.
Oh, plastic clay that.
Now,
Yes.
how do you
but
make them?
How do you make a mold? I can show you that. If you want clear mold,
Did you say that plastic clay could be used to make the mold?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is what you want to use for mold making. Yes.
All right. Thanks. Sorry, I was picking
That's
the
all right.
containers.
If you want to make a clear mold, this is the only product I have ever found that makes a clear mold. And I don't even know what it is because it's all in Chinese. But just Google clear silicone nail mold making and it will pop up. I did buy this on Amazon. I cannot find my original thing where I bought it because again, this was pre-COVID, but this stuff, it's doesn't even come in right English. It's all Chinese, but it's a 1-to-1. You mix both of them together and it comes out. Let me show you my mold that I made. I copied a nail art mold and it comes out perfect.
Wow.
But that's what they use.
And so what did you search for?
I searched for mold making clear. There, if you do that, there are things will come up that you can use silicone caulking and Dawn dish soap. It does work. The molds don't last long, but it does work. This was expensive. This is very expensive. This was, I believe, about $36. And this is pre-COVID. So this was very expensive. Love it though.
You find
And
the plastic clay, because I'm having no luck finding that.
it's out there. You might want to try Temu. I know I saw it on Temu as well.
Okay, thanks.
You can also use this epoxy sculpt to make molds. This is very expensive though. You're looking at, I believe this was about $45. I saw somebody wrote a question. I cannot see. If somebody could read me the questions that pop up, that'd be great. And I'll show you.
Okay, they have a pack of clear only, whatever that is, 8 pieces for $12.99 on Amazon. It's in the chat box.
Okay, is that molds?
That was that OYUMARU.
Thank you. All right, so to make a mold, I'm just going to use the Amazing Putty. They're all the same to make a mold. Everything's 1-on-1. If you're doing a liquid one, you can pour it into, like when I make my liquid ones, I use these. I found something flat and I poured it in here and got my mold on that.
So
Whenever you make a mold, you'll see 10 billion people on YouTube making molds, and most of them aren't making it correctly. Make sure I actually have a measuring way of doing it. I'm not going to measure it right now. I am just going to eyeball it, but you can measure it, weigh it, make sure everything's perfect. Mix the two together, and you want them firmly within the colors. Pull it. I'm going to make a face.
and what kind of material are you using for this one?
This one's just Amazing Putty. You can get this at Michael's. It's the cheapest. It comes in yellow, it comes in blue, comes in purple. Now, everyone on YouTube tells you to put your mold down, take the thing that you want to mold, and press it in. And that's what happens. Don't do that. Whenever you're making a mold, I'm going to make something a little bit flatter here so you guys can see it better. Whenever you make a mold, you want, whether it's a liquid mold or this is called a solid mold because it's not liquid based, you want to glue this down. I'm not going to because we're going to just move along, but you want to glue that down. You want it on something flat. You see how this is nice and flat?
And that's your object that you're going to make the mold with, huh?
Correct. And I'm just going to shape this a little bit just to try to get the size that I want. And I'm going to keep it. You can see, sorry, my husband's being in and out.
Can you also tape it down?
You can use tape.
Okay.
But the tape, if it's small like this, you can't really, you can use double stick tape, but it will transfer to your mold.
Okay.
I always try to keep it, and I just eyeball it about the same thickness. And I press down. And this is why you want it glued down, because you don't want it moving on you.
And you don't want bubbles either. Like
And you
little
don't want
tiny
bubbles. You don't have to worry about bubbles so much with the amazing putty because it's putty. This
Right,
is
but
like the stuff
still
as
gotten-
kids that we played with.
I've still gotten some bubbles with that, just air trapped in there if I didn't push down correctly.
And then you just let it set up there.
Yep, you let it sit up there. And this is why I do it on something clear and flat. I can flip it over and I can see, do I have any bubbles?
How
And
about
then
you
I
do
just let it,
something-
It looks like there's one at the neck. Is it?
nope, that is not one at neck.
Okay.
The neck is very small and thin.
Can I ask, how would you do something like a plate or a cup? A cup, where you need that insert, like the hollowness of it.
If you're going to do a plate or a cup, I'm glad you asked that question. I will show you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I happen to have those molds. I just got to find them.
If you're making a mold that's using that amazing putty, you can't use the ultraviolet, correct? Or the
Correct.
ultra,
You cannot
Okay.
use it. That's why
Okay,
you
thank
want
you.
clear. And there are in YouTube how to make a silicone mold from silicone. And literally Dawn just showed. It's messy process, but it does work. All right, here we are, plates. Okay, so these are all my cups. These ones you use with a liquid mold making, and this I just happen to use blue. And this one is you can't use the UV resin, but I use regular resin in there. And if you can see, I don't really want to split my mold too much, but the cup shapes are in there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So what you do,
It's a goblet.
there is, do I have, let me get a cup and I'll explain. Uh-huh.
So you're saying there is resin which does not require UV light.
Yes, there's just regular resin, and that can be clear cast. That can be, there's a whole bunch of different resin out there. Most of it does yellow, even though it says it's non-yellowing. Like I bought the Clear Class 7000, and that was expensive, very expensive. And it yellowed. And when I say this was expensive, I probably paid $70 for both bottles.
Oh, wow.
And you can see it yellowed, but it doesn't yellow as much as this is an easy cast resin that's going back. I only had it for 2 months and look how it's yellowed. And it's brand new. But you can see how much it's yellowed compared to that. So everything does yellow. you can buy the Environment Tex that yellows too. I actually have a new resin that I use. And it is called this. It's a clear casting epoxy resin. And I don't even want to tell you guys what I paid for this. It comes in 2 parts. And I got that at Resin Crafting, I believe, is where I bought this.
Resin
It-
craft and what?
Yes. Resin Crafting, I believe is where it is.
And I think there's a plastic store in
you
California that
do-
has all those different ones too. Plexiglass.
There it is. And when you do resin crafting, you need a silicone mat. You cannot use, well, you can use one of these mats, you can, but you'll ruin these mats. You need a silicone mat. I have them, but they're all put away right now. When you do use resin, please, please wear a mask. I can't wear a mask. So what I do is I do it outside. You have to make sure the temperature is not too cold, not too hot. But don't do it inside. Even if it says low odor, if you have breathing problems, if you have lung problems, it doesn't matter. It will affect you. People have gotten really sick. You'll see people on YouTube all the time crafting. Wear gloves, wear a mask, be in a ventilated area because the fumes can be overpowering for you, your animals, your loved ones in the house. Please be very careful doing that. All right, let me grab, I think I have a cup. Well, so here's a vase. We're going to pretend this is a cup. So what you want to do when you're making a wine cup or something like that, and as you can see in there, you have the stem right here, and then you have the cup holder, and then the little where you can put your cup in. You know what I do have? A martini glass. So what you want to do, you need like a pill bottle or something round. These little things are perfect for making things in. Get a nice tall one, put it in, it's perfect. You're going to take the stem and you're going to glue the stem down. You're going to put the mold inside here first and make sure there are no air bubbles. And then you're going to pour the rest of the mold around it. So it'll
That's
be
when
in
you're
there.
making a mold to use with
Correct.
that glass. Like, yeah.
Yes, you're making a liquid mold to do that. So you'd glue it. You put silicone inside, the rubber silicone inside, and then you pour around it until it completely covers the top. And I went a little crazy. I think I left probably about 3/8 of an inch. You don't need that much, but at least I would say 1/4 of an inch. And then you let that dry. And then to take it out, because as you can see, you just can't, you have to split it. So you can cut it nice and smooth lines, or you can do a jaggy line. If you do a jaggy sawtooth line, the mold goes back together good. So you would take this, once it's done, open it up, pop out your glass. Now to fill it, I use a little resin. I put it on a thing and I drip it in. And it's a pain in the butt. you got to make sure you have no air bubbles, and you do it very slowly. And when this is all filled, then you got to start closing it. And then once, as you can see, there's just a little air pocket. If I had to do it over again, I would scrape that out. But you get that started, and then you're going to take regular masking tape and you're going to tape it around. So that way it'll hold the mold and nothing will come out. And then you're going to pour the liquid in there. And because these wine glasses are so small with the stem, it's a pain in the rear end to do. And then you're going to let them dry.
Have you tried the syringes or the pipette?
You can do the pipette, yes. And this is before I had a pipette, but yes, you can do them. And just put it in slowly and surely. You want to do that to get out air bubbles, like every few things. What you don't want to do is take it, pour it all in and squish it. That's not going to work. This is a slow, long process. It's cheaper to buy the glasses. And I have every single Cristobon glass in molds. I made them all. It's cheaper to buy the glasses. And when I say I made them all of these are glasses in here. Every single one of them. You can also buy these. Some lady makes these as well. She sells them on Etsy. They're about $5 a piece. But you can buy those too. And see, here's an orange one. Here's a purple one.
Now, are those glasses or something else?
I don't remember what this one is. Honestly, I don't remember. I think I might have just been experimenting. I don't know. And I don't have them written on what they are, so I don't know, Bev.
So how did you do the plates?
Molds.
Yeah, so how did you make those molds is the question.
I bought these. These are all
Oh.
bought.
Okay, so there's a top and a
Nope.
a bottom.
Nope, not with these. These are only bottoms. Let me
So are
show
they,
you.
are they
Oh, they're
sunken?
just a bottom.
And I'll show you how I did it.
Yeah, how do you do it that it comes out hollow in the middle?
What color plate would we like, ladies?
Green.
All right, well, I only have this shade of green, but it shall be done. I get my gel nail polish because this is clear. These plates have a rim. You can use your paint brushes. You can use this. I know from experience, this works just fine, putting it in. I'm slapping it down to make sure I don't have any air bubbles. You can flip it over quickly. See, there are no air bubbles.
So because this is resin UV cured, you don't have to do it in layers either.
Actually, you do.
You do still. Okay.
I do still, because if you try to do it too thick, this is what happens. You see how it all comes down just into the plate? It doesn't want to stay on the
And the rim.
rim.
So you make 2 coats.
Pop it in there, let it cook. And it'll come out like this. Now, these particular molds, if your mold is shiny, it'll come out shiny. On these plates, it's not, it's a flat. So if I wanted it shiny, I would then take my nail polish, or I could take resin. I could take UV resin Because you can put UV resin on top of other stuff. To make it shiny.
And then you cook it again?
Yep. Just trying to make it where it's not going to be bubbly. And put it in there.
And if you're using clay or something, you can do it in the house, so.
If you're using clay, yeah. Well, UV resin it doesn't bother me. I don't have to wear a mask or anything with it. I'm fine with the UV resin. I haven't heard of anyone having any issues with the UV resin. It's just with the regular resin that people do have issues. Let me just cook that a little bit longer.
My question is, when you're doing with clay, how do you get it to be like an inserted piece?
When you're doing it with clay, you would have to roll it out nice and
Right.
thin and
Oh,
press
I
it down.
see. I see.
Just like you're doing with your molds.
No, I'm doing it differently. I'm making it like not thin, and then I put it on plate, let's say, and then I put another plate on top
On top, okay.
because I didn't know how to make that hollow. You're saying roll it out thin and then press it in.
Now, you can buy molds. Plates, cups. I do have some.
A 1/4 inch? But 1 inch, I know you can.
The 1 inch you can, you'll have to make your own for 1/4 inch.
But that's, yeah, exactly.
Here it is. But here's like a little 3D tray.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3D trays are a 2-part mold. I also have a 2-part mold for cups.
This is all 1/4 inch?
No, this is regular
1
scale.
inch. Right, exactly, yeah.
But you can use this little one. You could probably use it for 1/4 inch for a pot.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a little crafts thing. You can definitely use it for 1/2 inch. As you can see, a lot of my molds are in baggies, and I do that to keep hair and stuff off of it, dust. There's molds for teapots. You just would do one side, do another side, press them together and cook it.
Uh-huh. And you bought all these, right?
I spent a lot of money on these. Like here's a little kitty cat plate.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my molds for the dessert thing. See how that fits in there?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that goes right down into it. And then you have to buy the lid separately. Same thing with the mason jar. Unfortunately, they don't have them in smaller scales, but if you want to get molds and you want them for 1/4 inch, and you say to yourself, okay, well, I don't care if I'm using gel, UV gel, I just want to use resin. This is the YouTube video you guys want to go to.
Oh, interesting.
He will show you how to make a silicone mold with liquid silicone, and then how to shrink that said silicone mold to make it smaller. And for every mold you do it, you can make it smaller and smaller and smaller. It does work.
That's very cool.
So, and he's wonderful. He's talks with a puppet. He's wonderful.
Thanks for putting that on a card, because you've told us about them before, but I've never gotten it written down.
And here's your mold. And then
Oh, wow.
you can,
Neat.
clean up the edges with a pair of scissors. It's easy enough to do. And that's your mold. And there's your plate. And it's super thin. It's glossy on this side because the gel is glossy, and it's flat on that side.
Which
Very
you
cool.
could leave it in there and then do another coat and then cook it
Right.
again. Okay.
Correct. And then you can see here's where the UV resin is that I put on, and it's nice and glossy now. It's not a great job. So look at it and be like, oh, well, she didn't, because I didn't paint it. I didn't take my time to make sure it's perfect. But you can, and that's where the paintbrushes come in handy to do that.
Okay, real quick, I just want to go ahead and I need to have Carol Johnson, Julia Trent, and Laura R. Go ahead and email minis N as in November more at yahoo.com with your address, because you guys won mold. Rusty, I
Oh.
already know yours.
Woohoo!
So
then, like-
minis S,
Minis and then N as in November
yeah,
more at
And-
yahoo.com.
yahoo.com. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and then I took this mold out. It's not quite dry yet, but I was able to take it out, and that's what it'll look like. And because I took it out when it wasn't quite dry, you want it nice and flat here. Let me make it flat again because I maneuvered it. And that's how you want to make your molds. You want them nice and flat so you're able to take your cutter, I don't know what I'd put with it, and scrape off any excess.
Oh, the
But
clay that you put in there, huh?
Right. I'm going to put my thing back in here so it hardens correctly.
I did all of mine years ago. Does it shrink a little bit?
I've never found amazing putty to shrink.
Okay.
I've always said it's always been true. Same thing with this. This has always been true. This has been true. Some,
Oh, can you hold that back up again and show me the name on it? I'm still haven't had any luck finding that. Thanks.
instead, just look for plastic clay.
That's what I've been looking for on every place that, yeah, I can't get it. I can't find it anywhere.
Try spelling it with the K.
Yeah,
It's not a K. It's
It's a
I
C.
C.
It is
It's
a K in there.
It is a K.
It's plastic. It
But
looks
try
like
it with
it's
a
an
K.
IC, but that are close together. They're two different colors.
But still try it with a K. It may pull up for you. This I found does shrink.
And that's the putty, huh?
Yeah, that's the putty. But the Amazing Mold, I've never had issues with shrinkage on it.
Which is also a putty.
Correct. It is also a putty.
And that putty, it comes in clear or just colors?
It comes in colors only. I have never found it in clear.
Yeah, it's probably a white base then.
The only thing I've ever found to make a clear mold is this. And like I said, I don't know what it is. I can't find it anymore. I know this came from Japan. Japan has great stuff. But if you're going to buy from Japan, it's going to be more expensive.
Well,
But they have-
especially now that our currency's been downgraded.
Yes.
Julia, check the chat box.
Do you guys want to see any molds? Do you have any more questions? I mean, I have everything I could possibly show you. Like these little guys, definitely 1/4 inch. You can use this.
What
But
is
is
that?
that-
It's off the screen.
You
What
see
are
it?
those?
What are they?
It's dessert toppings.
And is there more than one scale in there or just,
There's more than one scale, but it's made for 1/12 scale cakes. But you can see how tiny these pieces are. I
yeah,
use these for 1/4 inch all the time, the last ones.
Uh,
And I actually bought 7 of these molds when I found them really cheap because I can make a whole bunch at one time.
That's smart.
But like I said, the original one was over $25 and it was not in a clear. The original one was in a yellow, which is around here somewhere. But you have, these are all my donuts, crackers. I have hearts, waffles, rounds. And then you can see my molds that I've made from the Amazing Putty. They're real easy. And then these are the pieces that I used. I used some clay, put it down. There's breads, there's animals. I mean, these are breads. These ones are shoes, Halloween, teapots, Eiffel Tower, VW bus.
Oh my gosh. Are these all very small, like 1/4 scale or inch also?
These are only dollhouse scale. They're
Dollhouse
1
scale.
inch and lower. I don't know if I can pull this one out. But these are shoes.
Oh, cool.
And they work great. I do have some shoes around here somewhere, but I don't know what happened to them.
Do
I
you
don't-
know of anyone other than Ruth Stewart that sells 1/4 inch scale molds? I mean, actual 1/4 inch scale molds, not ones that you can use for 1/4 inch scale.
No. Ruth is the only one that I
I
know.
didn't either. And hers
But-
are not inexpensive at all. They are expensive.
Hers are a lot of these nail molds.
Are they?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
because I own all the nail molds. And so I can recognize what each one is and I recognize what they are.
oh, she
Yeah.
just makes a mold out of them.
Correct.
So, yeah.
And I mean, I have a few of her molds and some of them aren't from the nail mold. Some of them are her own designs. But you have circles, bows, fishes, bats, you name it, I've got it. See, these are tarts, whipped cream, macaroons. You can get little tarts. There's a blueberry in there, which is perfect
Yeah.
for our scale. And there's a little tart here, which is perfect for our scale. Can you guys see that?
When you say our scale, you mean an inch?
I mean
1/4
1/4
inch.
inch,
1/4
Quarter.
inch.
1/4 inch?
I
1/4
can
inch.
see the little tart things. The
And they
little
were-
tart things can make a cake. in
And they were
1/4 inch.
from the nail?
These are nails.
I-
All the clear molds that you see are nail molds. All the
So-
pink ones that you see are nail molds.
Okay, where do you
Everything's
recommend to
nail.
get them? Because I tried to look for it. That's really cool. That's a tart mold?
This is tart mold. This one I bought in Italy
Oh,
before I could find the nail molds. I paid a lot of money for this. Now you can probably pick this up for about $3 or $4. Like I said, eBay, Etsy, Amazon, it's a hunt and a peck. It took me 3 years to amass all
Yeah,
these
it's a
nail
lot of
molds.
hunting, right? Yeah.
But I bought them when they were all about 50 cents a piece for the
Mhm.
majority of them. Like all these
Yeah,
pink,
I bought all of mine on eBay, but years ago. So when you could buy a whole package of those little molds.
yes. Like these pink ones, I paid $5 and I got 15. And you can see there's enough, there's 1/12 scale, 1/2 inch scale, and 1/4 inch scale in there. Now you have to be careful. I bought whipped cream ones. They said it was dollhouse scale mold. This is a silicone made with cornstarch. This is a knockoff. This is very sticky. You can make the silicone mold yourself like this. These do not hold up. But this is too big for, this is more, not even Barbie scale. It's more of American Girl. Same thing with that. This might work for 1/12 scale. So this one was misleading.
Mhm.
So you do have to pay attention. If you're not sure of the nail molds, read how big the mold is. And that will tell you, like this one is 2 inches by 1 3/4. And that should have told me that was already too big. Let's see. More nail molds. This is definitely, we could use this for 1/4 inch and Barbie scale if you wanted Barbie scale, and 1/12. These are cream puffs. Breads. I have all type of breads. And then I do have these because I've made them with it to see if it actually worked. And then some of these are molds that I bought on Etsy. The blue ones are Etsy molds. The yellow ones are mine. You can do stars, hearts. I mean, they have molds of every type. And these are all again nail molds, but you can see how little some of these are, which is great for different scales. I have, let's see. Plates I showed you guys. Now, if you wanted bigger molds, I have that too. And then these are just me playing with the resin, learning, finding out sizes and shapes. But you can use these for building things. And these are not nail molds. These are the bigger molds for shapes and stuff. You can see how big some of these are. But they're great for platters and stuff like that. And then you can buy 3D molds. Of different size, like swans. And I protect most of my molds in plastic bags. It just helps keep the dirt and stuff off of them.
Where do you find your little boxes?
These are
Hobby
floss
Lobby.
boxes.
Huh?
These are floss boxes for embroidery,
Yeah.
Joanne Fabrics.
Oh, you
Hmm.
just get them from Joann's.
Hobby Lobby sells them too.
Michaels, they all sell them.
Yeah.
Like here's a bear. I've got different size bear molds.
Oh, it makes a
And
2-part bear.
it can, but you would have to do one and then flip it over, but they're kind of flat. But you can make, like for these heads and stuff, these are flat molds. And then you can just simply put it on there and sculpt a head over it. I've made dolls like that all the time. I will pull out those molds as well for you guys to see those. But there's everything. I have bear heads, I have cats, dogs, puppies. Like this one has bears, dogs, mice, squirrels, swans, flamingos, fish, bugs, unicorns, pigs, cakes. You can see everything's labeled. You can do alphabets. This one has cameos. The Chinese, where's the Chinese one? I wanted to show you guys that. Now, some of these are starting to get a little fancy. And these I bought from France. She's on Etsy. I don't know if you can see that, but you can buy different types of laces.
Oh.
This one is my favorite bin of all of them. See the lace?
Ooh, pretty.
That is very pretty.
But they have all different types. Now this was a cheaper lace, so that's no great big deal there. There is, if you wanted to do floors in 1/4" scale or micro scale, you can do flooring with all the different types, or you can make a top for cakes. Can you guys see that? Am I too close?
You have to go
Yeah,
back.
you're a little bit too close. Back up just a little bit.
Tell me when.
Maybe you can kind of see that it's dotted.
Yeah, I see it.
Let me get it out of here.
It looks like just like a grid.
Yeah,
It is a grid. Can you see that?
yeah.
Mhm.
These are expensive. These are about $15 a piece.
Ooh,
She sells on Etsy. Well, she used to. I don't think she does anymore.
There's a link in the chat box if you want to check it out.
I can't see the chat box on my phone. I can't do that.
Yeah.
My phone won't pull that up.
Well, you don't need the link. I was putting one out there to show them little tiny waffle mold.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've already seen them long time ago and bought them.
I'm sure I have. But there are lips. Here's for you 1/4" scale people. And you micro scale people who want clothes. Do you see the shirts, how small they get?
I have that one.
But look how tiny. And those are great. You just put this over here. And then this is my big box of goodies. Now these are molds that are bigger than dollhouse molds, and these are also my people. So all these faces came from here. I don't know if you ladies have seen the dolls with the faces. And then they have hands and feet, but everything is flat and you have to, everything would be cut off. You have to build up with it. Same thing with the faces. And what's great about this mold is when you do grab a face, you don't have to keep this face as big and as fat. You can take it and mold it and shape it and move it around. If you can't do dolls, this is perfect. Same
And-
thing for 1/4 inch scale, even though that's a baby's face, you see, you can still mold it around something and shape it to your liking.
And where are those molds from?
These are from Michael's. You can still get these
Oh,
at
really?
Michael's.
Michael's, really?
Yeah.
In which section?
This,
I've never seen them.
I haven't either.
this is what the brand is. It's a sculpting mold. You could probably find
Oh.
it online.
Oh,
Mine, I probably bought about 5 years ago, but I have still seen them. And then this one is for a fairy. And the bigger face actually went in this one.
Wow.
And then I like different sizes and shapes. So like here's a Ruth Stewart one. I'll buy Ruth's ones if I've been looking for boxes. And this is where I got her heart. And I use regular resin for this, and I popped it in. And that's where I got it. Same thing for her. I was just experimenting with the mica powder to see how glittery things are. But her stuff worked out lovely. Because I have her Lego molds too, which I thought are just absolutely delightful. And I use regular resin for those. I don't use clay. A lot of times for Ruth stuff, I'll use the resin. But as you can see, the resin came out beautifully in this instead of clay.
Laura
So-
R.,
oh,
I
you-
haven't gotten your email with your address yet. I got the other ladies. Thank you so much.
Are there
Okay.
any questions? Do you want to see anything?
Can I just ask, so you can use the resin in Ruth's molds and then put it under the light?
No, you cannot use the
Oh.
UV resin. You have to use
Oh.
regular resin for that.
Oh,
You would,
okay, I got it. All right. Thank you.
you're welcome. Like this, I used the Clear Cast 7000, and because it is tinted, you can't tell that it's getting yellowed. I know it's getting yellowed, but you can't tell. So you can use resin, and if it does tint, you're fine. There's also, if you want jars, they have jars. I mean, you can spend a small fortune. There's a lady on Etsy. Like this is square jars and stuff, who sells knockoff copies of molds. They do shut her down, and then she just reopens up under another name. They haven't shut her down yet, so she is there, and her molds are very cheap. They're about $3 to $5, and usually with free shipping if you spend over $30. And she used to be under Love Tiny Land, and now she's something else. but little squares. Oh, these are fun. These are tube mold. So if you would put something in here and fill it up, you'd have a big tube. But if you take something like this, you fill it up with a UV resin and you dump it out real quick and you just make sure the outside's coated, you can have a really cool vase or a glass because you're not filling the whole thing in. So you'd fill it up, you dump the resin back out and it'll still stick to the side and you pop it in your UV resin thing to cure it. But these are fun. Do you guys have any other questions? Do you want me to show you anything?
I do. So you were saying how you put the resin in. Do you let it sit a little bit and then pour it back out, or you just pour it right back out?
I pour it right back out.
Okay, thanks.
You know, and sometimes it takes a while to figure it out. This is my second set. My first set, I actually cut them so I could see better what I was doing and coating them, but I wanted a set that I didn't ruin. And if you do ruin the molds, like the one that I showed you, that was all split, you can still use it. You just can't put liquid in it, but you can use it for clay. It works just fine for clay. But you could obviously, you can see you can't use it for any liquid, but for clay, it works just fine. So I kept it, but don't put them in the freezer. They always say, oh, you can put in the freezer. No, you can't. The hard ones you can. Sometimes when you buy findings, there'll be a real pretty picture on here. You can put these in the freezer. I use these all the time. And you can use UV resin with this.
What is that?
And this was Charms.
Oh, how smart. Wait, so but how do you use that as a mold?
Well, you can put it here and here.
See what I found with something like that is that you're putting it in, right? And the underside is getting the design, not the top.
Nope, the top will get it.
Wait,
On mine, the top will get it. I have a 2-part mold.
oh, so you
I'm
put
gonna
one
show
in
you
the
guys.
other. You put one in the other.
Correct.
Oh, right. Very nice.
The plate
was-
she
and
did
that was from
earlier,
Charms,
it was the
Renee?
underside.
Spread it out. Now, I haven't done this in a long time, ladies, so. When you use regular resin, you have to make sure there are no bubbles in it. So you need to use a lighter.
They're just gonna say, yeah, you use a lighter to go ahead and pop them.
But with UV resin, you don't want to do that. I'm gonna need a little bit more.
Do you buy your bottle of UV resin on Amazon or like from Hobby Lobby?
Amazon.
Okay.
The closest Hobby Lobby to me is about an hour away.
Ah,
And I can't say I'm really impressed by it, but there is one opening by me that's about 20 minutes away.
oh, cool.
So that's
They
just
do
that-
come in different sizes, Amazon or Hobby Lobby. Different cities have different size Hobby Lobbies.
That's correct. Yeah, I have in along Long Island, which is a stretch of, So the one that's like an hour is smaller than the one that's like an hour and a half. I travel to the 1 hour and a half every so often because I'll see much more over there.
Okay, now you can see I do have a bubble in there. I'm gonna try to get that out.
So is that hard, clear kind of mold?
Yeah.
And you can do resin in it?
Yeah, in
Okay.
theory you can. We're gonna find out. It's been a long time since I've done it, but yeah.
Okay.
So here's my one that I made a bowl out of that you can put ice cream in. You can see it's
Hollow, yeah,
hollow in there.
yep. Cool.
And then you can dry brush it. And if you wanted to make it a little bit more, all you need to do is heat it up. Let's stick it back under there. Let me get that heated back up and I'll show you how to mold it a little bit better. Heat off. So it's a little heated. This is a rubber top. And you can just form it around it.
What are you doing? I'm not catching what you're doing over there.
I'm
with a
making it more of a
stylus.
cup.
Yeah,
Oh, I see. It was already
using a
formed.
stylus.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
and it's a little bit more of a cup shape now. Even more than it was. And you can just keep heating it until it does that as much as you want. While we're waiting for that, do you ladies have any questions about anything? You can unmute yourselves. No questions?
Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Yeah, you did an
Yeah.
amazing job.
I am
Extremely
so
well
glad
done.
this was recorded. There was so much
That's amazing.
information.
Yeah, this was great.
Absolutely
much.
amazing.
Great. How careful do you have to be of the puffer nail varnish and things when you have a UV light exposed? I see you have it fairly close and I tend to hide mine.
And go right up to it. It doesn't bother me.
And she's been putting her fingers in it.
Yeah. The
No.
UV resin doesn't bother me. It's the
No, I
regular
meant
resin that does.
I meant how close is the bottle before it's affected by the contents are affected by the UV light.
Oh, the bottle is black.
No, your nail varnish one isn't there, the puffer one.
The what
The
one?
green.
Puffy
The nail
nail
gem.
varnish.
Oh,
That-
this is
yeah.
a colored nail polish, so you can't see it.
Good.
It doesn't. As long as it's closed, you're good.
Okay, good.
All the nail polish, all the gel nail polish, all have colors, so it doesn't matter. Well, I don't think this worked out too well. I think it melted my plastic.
Oh
See,
dear.
That's why I wasn't sure you could use it in those.
Oh dear.
It's all right. I have more. I don't care.
But you could definitely use air dried clay on it.
Yes, you
Mm.
can. I'm just going to heat it up and pop it back out.
You
No
say
great big deal.
warm it up again, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and then I'll just pop it right back out.
keep
no
in
great
mind
big
on the UV, you can actually put it outside in the sun. So
Mm.
you don't actually have
Yeah, if
to.
you live in Arizona, you certainly
Yeah, well-
can. You can't do it in Georgia because
Okay.
the humidity is too high. You can't do it in Pennsylvania because the humidity is too high. You have to have a clear, hot day with no humidity for it to actually work and work well.
You couldn't do it in Illinois then because humidity.
Yeah, well, this didn't work. Oh, here it comes. Yeah, whatever. So this was a fail, so don't do that.
Oh, this has
This
been
is
good.
how we take
Thank
care
you.
of a fail.
I've heard that you do hot glue, clear hot glue for mold making. Can you do that?
You can
Mhm.
use hot glue for clear mold making, absolutely. I do not know if it works good for resin and UV resin. I don't know. But I do know people use hot glue and it works. I've seen it and it works. But I don't know if you can use the resin with it. That would be something I would suggest on YouTube and look at that to see if that works well. Is there any molds or anything you want to see? Do you want me to show you how to do a 2 or 3 part resin mold?
That would be nice. Yes, please.
Okay. What would you
Your,
guys like to see?
your sign there, it says the craftsman. Are you just missing a T or is it not supposed to be there?
I spelled it exactly
C-R-A-F.
how he spells it.
Okay.
Exactly. He, like I said, he plays with a puppet. So he's funny though. He is very funny. He's very informative and it's wonderful. Let's see. Let me get I have. Why don't we do a cup?
Oh, that'd be
All right.
good. Yes, please.
I don't have my silicone mat out, but let me just grab some plastic. I don't want to ruin my mat. And I'm going to put on my big glasses so I can really see what I'm doing here. All right, we're not going to do green. I don't like the color green. How about if we just do a white one? Now I'm using gel for this. You know what? Let's use UV resin. Let's have some fun. And we're going to add some color to it. How about this, ladies? A copper color?
Sure. Apricot.
Do you sell your products to help make up for the cost of your molds that you're buying?
In theory, that was what I was supposed to do.
I love it in theory.
Yeah, in theory. Now you don't need a lot of the powder. I even bought a website name.
Really?
Yep. In theory, I'll get there. And you just mix it up. Definitely needs more glitter. Oops, way too much. I'm actually going to mix this underneath my desk because I do have UV lights everywhere. And I don't want it
To set.
to set. So you always have to make sure that you keep that in mind. And put your lid back on your thing. Okay. So we're going to do the small cup. What you want to do. Cover that. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
You put it in and you're going to go around the handle.
Now, when you clean your brush, are you just going to use water to clean the brush when you're done?
I just wipe it off. That's all I do.
Oh, okay.
And that's what these SID tools are wonderful because you can, any mistakes you make, you can pull them out. I'm actually going to put this in my drawer here where it stays in the dark. All right, and then you do, whoops, the handle on the other side. So the first part is you want to do the handle. Once the handle's done, you put them together. And they all fit together like this. I don't leave the paint on my brush. I do clean my brush immediately because again, I'm surrounded with UV lights. I'm going to grab some masking tape. I would honestly use the low tack painter's tape, the blue tack paint, but I don't have any, so this will work just fine. I just want that to hold.
But doesn't that make a clear mold not clear?
It does, but it's see-through too. You'll see. I just want to hold it while I'm doing this. And then you pour it in. You ladies see?
Yeah.
And then what I'm doing is I am looking to see, is it all the way where I need it? And it looks pretty good. And this part's going to go in. So I only filled it up a little bit. I might have overfilled it. We're going to find out here momentarily. A lot of people use rubber bands around the molds. I don't happen to have any rubber bands. I don't like rubber bands around because I have cats. And then you just press. If I had a rubber band, I'd put the rubber band in it, but I'm just going to hold it. You can also do your nails at the same time. I'm going to let it work its magic. And while that's doing that, I'm going to fill up some other. And the trick is just getting everything in the mold.
So have you made like miniature bakeries with your all of your cake molds and all the little cookie molds and
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, my friend has a bakery, so I bought a whole bunch of molds so I can fill her bakery for her.
Very nice. I need to be your friend.
So for
Pays me stuff.
for the four ladies that won, so that's Rusty, Laura, Carol, and
Julia.
What
Julia.
have I
thank
done
you.
wrong?
Is there any one of you that would like musical notes more than the other?
With like what?
Musical notes.
The musical notes are great swan heads for cream puffs.
Ah,
All right, so you can see I overfilled it, no great big deal, because you can actually cut it. I like to use X-Acto knives. I like to use razor blades.
Mind your fingers.
Yes, Mom.
Oh, sorry, that was automatic. I do apologize.
That's all right, Rusty. I appreciate it. But you see how easy this all peels off. I figured Rusty was correct. I probably shouldn't use the razor blade. And then if I need to, I can file it down. And this is where you want to trim things up. I know I'm not trimming things up correctly. I'm going towards me. Need my tweezers. I lost my tweezers again. I swear those things grow legs. And there's your nail mold. Now I do have a hole.
Very nice.
There's a hole there, and that's easy to fix.
And then you just pop it back in, right?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna
Mm.
put it in the mold. I'm just gonna pop it right back
Yeah,
in
right.
and it'll cook and it'll be fine. It's like I have Barbie dolls, because you know the Barbie movie's out.
Ah.
I have Barbies and mermaids, because everybody needs those.
Of course.
And I'm going to show you, you can be as messy as you want. Can you see that there?
Mm-hmm.
And you can just literally spread it in there. Get the hair out. My cats aren't allowed down here, but yet I have cat hair everywhere.
You carry it with you. That's how it is. It's stuck on us.
It sure is. But you see how nice and clean it comes off if you just scrape it. And you really don't have to buy anything expensive. Like I said, you can go to the dollar store and use the little scraper. Or if you're like me and you want to spend your money on important things, all these things that you get in the mail, these plastic credit cards work great. I have about 300 of those. And then it's done.
Cool.
Can't even tell where the hole was.
Very nice.
And then there is,
Beautiful.
it's opened and easy peasy. See, if you try to do it here, it wouldn't work. We can experiment. I know the top part gets hard, but it doesn't cook on the inside. I know that. But let's experiment. Are there any questions?
My main question is where to buy them. I'm looking and looking. I can't find. I don't know. Like they'll say that here's a bread mold or donut mold, but then they won't say if it's for nail art. So I don't know the size.
Okay, the first thing you do when you are doing a search, put in silicone nail art mold. And that will really help you pop things up.
And use verbatim.
Yes. That's how I've searched for everything.
What do you mean use
And-
verbatim? What does that mean? I don't know how to put that in.
Okay, on the top of the Google thing where it says tools, click on that and then it comes down all results. Click on that and then click on verbatim.
How long do you cook it for?
Did you say go to terms?
Tools.
Tools. So I'm looking.
Um, Every
In-
nail
and
polish is
Google.
different. You have to read your nail polish. Some nail polish is 30 seconds, some's 45, some's 90. What I have is a 91. And when they are the nail molds like this and they are deep, I cook them for longer because sometimes they'll be solid, but the insides are still squishy. So when I know this is solid, I may even flip it over and cook it on the other side.
Can you burn it or overcook it?
No,
Awesome.
Did you find it, Esty?
Yeah, I found it. Thank you so much.
see
Never
like
knew-
this.
You less other things than what you're searching for.
Right. That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so I use this pink
Thank
mold
Wanda.
and
yeah?
it
So cool.
it is fine up top, but this is all liquid here. So my molds actually, my liquid is still in here. So it only works for the top part. So if you just wanted like a top part, I guess you could do it. But you cannot use these in here because it doesn't go through. You can use, like I said, chalk. Some people do use paint and color it to make it darker. If you do that with a UV and make it darker, sometimes the light won't cure it because it doesn't go through. It has to be a lighter shade for it to go
And
through.
Has
If
to
you
be
use paint.
transparent.
Yes. Like that's
So-
why I use nail polish.
So an
And this
opaque paint will not work well.
opaque can because these are. And
Oh,
but they're nail polish and they work just fine.
uh-huh.
Jean, I've got a question for you, and maybe you've answered this already. The mica powders, when we were talking about the mica powders earlier, it's the same deal with the darker mica powders, like you're using like a dark sapphire. It might not go through as well because it has to be a light, it has to be something translucent.
Let's find out. Honestly, I don't know. I've never used a dark one with the gels, so let's do it.
Okay.
I'm using black. That's a great question.
I'm learning a lot tonight.
Yeah, me too.
So are
all
we.
are. We all are.
Quite amazing.
Okay, we're
And I
going to
was-
try a thicker one too.
And I was going to bed early tonight. Ah,
Well, I'm
Yes,
glad you did.
Rusty.
You won something too.
I'm glad I didn't.
Let's try some thick ones. Oh, that's a really nice thick one. I can already tell you this one will take a long time. This one I'm going to have to cook for a bit.
Is that because it's
And
so
then-
thick?
It's so thick, correct. And then we'll do one in 1/4 inch.
Are those plates or what are you doing?
These are croissants. And this one
Oh,
is
okay.
a waffle. And let's do an ice cream cone. I used to love the black ice cream cones.
Mhm.
I'd call them vampire bars. They're all black on the outside and they're blood red on the inside.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What do they taste like?
Cherries.
Charcoal, I should
Huh.
think.
It was, and
Never heard
we
of them,
called
but
it
they
vampire
sound good.
bars. Give it the good humor, sold it.
Huh.
Really.
After midnight. They sold them after midnight.
It's a great
See,
market
we told our kids in our neighborhood when the good humor guy came around, we told them it was the Music Man. And for years and years and years, they never
You're
bothered us.
terrible.
They never bothered us about buying ice cream because they thought it was the Music Man until the
That's
neighbor's
funny.
grandmother came and she
Oh my
heard
God.
the noise and she says, "Oh, does anybody want ice cream?"
Ah. Oh,
Now, when you're done with this, you can even pop that in there and cook it too. And I'm going to cook it so I can pull it off of my stuff. All right, let's try. All right, now this I'm putting on for 90 seconds and then we'll flip it over and we'll cook it for another 90 seconds. Just see, I don't, you see that? Whoops.
Yeah,
Sorry, drop my
for
phone.
a second we could. Yeah, right there we see it. Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's just cooking. And as you can see, this one is an all over LED. And that's why I have it, because it cooks on the sides and everything else. Whereas the cheaper version of
Oh, it's
this
just tops. Yeah.
is just the top. And let's
Yeah.
see, I do believe I have a UV.
So if you use that little one, you have to turn them.
I don't really use this little one, so I can't really answer that question. I just got out of the box today.
Oh, it's fairly big lights.
Here, we'll put one under there. And we'll try one there. And I'll show you ladies. That's how that one looks. And that's how that one looks.
I can see how the one with the pink top there would cook quicker.
Yeah, and these tops are interchangeable. They come in different colors.
Okay.
There's, on mine, there's white and black. Obviously, I'm a pink girl, so that's what I do.
Well, I saw you putting something on top of it a while ago to heat it up, so the top of it gets hot.
No, this is not hot at all. This is nice and cool. But you can do your nail art on here because this is silicone, so everything will peel off.
Okay.
So you wanted to, you could take your nail art and work on it and then pop this in to cook it and peel it right off. All right, now this one was in this cheap little one. Yeah, it's almost hard. Yeah, but it's, I can feel that it's moving. So we're going to pop that one in a little bit longer. But to experiment, I would suggest buying the cheaper one at first. I bought the bigger one because I do my nails. I do the gel nails.
So you put your hand under there
Yes, I put my hand in here.
and
For my feet.
electrocute it. Huh? Okay.
And then if I have something bigger, I can pop this off and just hold it up.
Oh, that was the base. Okay.
Magnet.
Oh, just a magnet to hold it on?
Yep. All right, let's see. And you see how nice this just all comes off and it peels right off nicely. And I was messy on purpose. I'm going to squish this and see if it's cooked inside. And that answer's no. So that has to cook a little bit longer. But what I'm going to do now, since this top cooked, I am going to flip it over. It's not going to run because this is nice and hard. And we'll cook it on the other side. And let's see what happened on this side. Maybe. There we go.
Oh, how cute.
And let me squish it. Let's see if it's cooked all the way. I'm going to say it's probably not. The small one is, the very small one is cooked. But the large one is not cooked.
Okay.
So it just
Those
needed to be a
clear
little bit
molds
longer.
you can cook in them, huh?
What, Bev?
The small mold, I mean the clear ones you can cook in them, huh?
Only in these. When I call it cooking, you can only cook in a UV LED resin light. You can't cook in the oven with it. No. You can't put it in the microwave. Only these things.
Oh, only in the UV cutter.
Yeah, that's almost. This one's ready to rock and roll. And I have a nice black glitter. Where's my, lost my tweezers again. And there's my nail mold decoration, or my 1/4" scale French twisted bread in black. Can you guys see it? Or am I
Yeah.
too?
Oh, yeah.
No, before I saw that, yeah.
I have another question for you. So
Okay.
how long do you put them in the UV?
It depends. Every UV will tell you how long you need to, like this one says a UV LED lamp, 6 to 9 watts is 30 to 9 seconds. 30 to 90 seconds. A UV lamp, like my light is a UV lamp. That would be 2 to 4 minutes. Sunlight would be 30 to 90 seconds, but again, we discuss Arizona heat. Cloudy would be 20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like I spray paint, leave it out there for a couple seconds and go back out and get it.
Yeah, because you're Arizona. So that's what this one is. Some of my nail molds are 30 seconds. Some of them are 60 seconds.
What
I
happens if
found
leave
you
it
can
in
cook them.
extra long?
It doesn't matter. Like when I do my nails, I put them in, every layer is 90 seconds. And my nails don't fail on me for at least 3 weeks.
Okay, thanks.
And then here are these. Now here's the Barbie one that I was really messy at and did it. And you can see if you're looking through here, if I have any holes or not. There's a Cupid. Little mermaid. I didn't do this little Barbie very good. Ew, and she has like diamond prints on her face. That's really ugly. Do not use a pair of tweezers to pull things out. You don't want anything sharp on it. Just bend it a little bit. It'll give. You don't want to bend it too much because you don't want to break it. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's supposed to be Barbie. I don't know. But as you can see, I'm just pulling a little bit. And another little mermaid. And these are rock hard. But that would make a cute little cookie. Or I could stick it on my nail and have a mermaid.
When they stick them on the nail, what do they glue them on with?
They use gel nail polish. I'm not going to do it because I don't like, they're too high for me to put them and they catch on me in my hair. My hair's way
Right,
too long
right.
for it. But they just will take a little, like the top coat, the clear coat, put it on, put that on it, and there you go. And it
And then
blows
you
right in.
stick your finger inside the UV for the 90
Yes.
seconds.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
And then there's a small black ice cream cone. And as you can see, these are rock hard. I don't know where it went.
Too bad Sharita didn't come, or did she?
But you can say these are very well burnt pieces of bread.
Yeah.
They're more expensive because they're flambéed.
That's right. And clean up with UV resin is really easy. Put everything in there, cook it, and peel it right off. If it's silicone, like I said, if it's on this mat, you'll probably never get it off. And here's the mold, the waffle, the burnt waffle.
Yeah.
But yeah, the color worked just fine on it.
It's great. Thank you for
That's all I
trying.
got. That's all I got,
Oh,
ladies.
thank you. That's great.
It is great.
But
I
like
have-
I said,
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
very welcome. But you can use anything on it. You don't have to use the gels. And if you do use the gels, don't go to Sally's, don't go to Walmart and buy the expensive stuff. Everything I get is on Amazon. My nail polish that I buy, even for my nails, I don't spend more than $1 to $2 a bottle. And that's only if I really like the color.
Fabulous, Jean. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you
very welcome.
very much.
You all
If
have a good
anybody
night.
has any questions, you can always email me as well. I don't want to put my
Thank you.
email out there while it's recording.
And it's 2:15 in the morning. Good night, ladies.
Thank
you
right,
very much.
Rusty.
Night,
Hope you can
Rusty.
do it
Good
again
night.
tomorrow.
Take care, Rusty. Have a good
Night,
night.
night, girls. If I can find the off switch, can't see that straight at this time. That anyway.
Just do what I do, Rusty, and just turn your phone off.
Okay, any other questions before I stop the recording?
Just want to say it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes, it was
you.
wonderful. It was wonderful.
Okay, I'm
Awesome.
gonna stop it.